and I had to change my diet to restore my physical and mental health. And that really helped me to see that, yes, trauma plays a part in certain experiences in life, but so does what we put in our bodies and what we surround ourselves with.
Maybe from an unconscious, impulsive state. Number two is I could have been given the red flags very clear, but I ignored them because I thought the potential was the reality of who they were in the present.
So emotions store in our myofascial tissue. Okay, our body is made of what, 75-80% water, and so our emotions store in our water, and they create emotional echo prints.
Ooh, golly.
$300.
Yeah.
We did it, guys. Episode 1. Feeding the ducks. Feeding the ducks is what this track is called. And boy, am I feeding the ducks. So as we kick off this space tonight, in this sacred space, that is, I'm gonna give us a little something from the Light Language Oracle by Chloe Metcalf. And this Oracle deck is a channeled deck by Chloe Metcalf. And she channels every guide and gives a direct and personal message through them. So we'll see what we got here for the collective. Just a single card, nothing fancy. And welcome in everybody on this Saturday. Well, I guess really could be Sunday for some of you, and it also could be completely different time space watching the replay. So to all of you that are tapped in this now moment, thank you for being you and thank you for being here. And I really appreciate your presence. Okay. Before we begin, let me just take a moment and if you may, let's kind of just ground ourselves into this space and kind of allow ourselves to become an empty vessel for spirit and for clarity and light and love. As we journey tonight and explore navigating abuse in empowering ways to not only learn how to analyze and observe and pick up on the signs, but also how this can affect us on a metaphysical and energetic standpoint. So with that being said, if you may, join me. And I'll play some nice, wonderful frequencies for us, a little bit of sound healing. All right. So let's take a moment and focus inward. As we focus inward, focusing on the breath, breathing through the nose, and exhaling out of the mouth. And as you breathe with this breath, just allow yourself to be present, to feel the sound, the vibrations. And may we be blessed with clarity, guidance of love, and protection. Ashe. Okay. So as we begin here, and for everybody out there, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Serpent Mound in Ohio, but myself and my lovely queen, we went to Serpent Mound out here in Ohio, and we got to really connect with some beautiful community. And these are like wisdom keepers, elders, many other wonderful artists and conscious individuals. And man, such a beautiful time, good way to kind of kick off spring as it was aligned with the spring equinox energy. And welcome in, everybody. Good to see you. Welcome in. You guys just get comfortable, enjoy the vibes, allow yourself to kind of just relax and let go as we flow. And I'm about to open us up with a collective reading here. And after this reading, we're going to navigate into some conscious ways of navigating abusive energy. And we're not going to just talk about, the physical and the way that abuse can happen, but we're going to break it down into the metaphysics as well and kind of study and learn how our subconscious picks up on abuse, as well as our emotional body, and our energy centers and our physical body. And with that, we'll learn healthy ways of having boundaries, and other ways of navigating and maintaining a strong, healthy aura and energy field, which can then be a prime reason for you not to attract these kind of energies into your life. So that being said, our first card is Mother Mary. Quite intriguing spirit guide to come through, I would have to say. So for everybody out there, again, our first card tonight is Mother Mary. Wow. Okay. Mother Mary. Wow. Okay. So the things that really stand out for me for Mother Mary in this book is really tapping into the energy for self-compassion. And when I say self-compassion, having self-love and compassion for yourself, for your flaws, for mistakes, for lessons, as well as maybe the times where you feel like you could have done differently, and therefore that causes resentment. So it's really softening those aspects of ourselves. And another thing I'm also hearing from that is, try not to seek that kind of energy. So not necessarily seeking it from something outside of us, but knowing that we can start with giving that to our own self in our present space. And then from there, open ourselves up to healthy outlets of that unconditional love in the ways that we need necessary. So I'm also seeing too that some of us may kind of forget where we came from or how far we've come in this human journey. And over the years, there's been a lot of trials and tribulations. So also to just kind of remember how far you've come. The trials and tribulations, whether it's addiction, relationships, abusive situations, as well as other patterns that can come into life. So I just wanted to remind you with that being said, if there's anything that you may feel like is making you think differently about yourself or your capabilities or who you are as a person, I would just really the throat chakra. I would just really take a moment to sit with that, and whatever it may be, allow yourself to kind of reflect upon why it may be surfacing right now, or why it may be making itself known. And with that, then kind of bringing a opportunity for potential holistic healing. And not just holistic healing, but the opportunity to release an attachment, which could also be resulting into resistance or density within your energy field. So how do you clear out that kind of energy? Well, there's various different ways, different tools that you can go about that. You can go through energetic and holistic practices, creating routines and consistency around that. And that could be Reiki, meditation, chakra balancing, yoga, breathwork, Tai Chi and Qigong, and various other ways. So the second card, we got 2 cards tonight, and it's going to complement Mother Mary. And it's the Goddess of the Flame, and it's Pele. Quite interesting combination, I'd say. Very common figures, but not really together. So we got Pele complementing Mother Mary. And with Pele, I feel like this is kind of like that Mother Mary energy is like the fortress. It's almost like that reminder and that fortifying energy of, yeah, I am your divine and great mother. And the great mother has always got us through our ups and downs and trials and tribulations. She's always going to be giving us nurturing, unconditional love, support, abundance, resources, new ways of learning wisdom. And with that, you dive into that security and you allow that motherly energy to be your warmth and your security. And with that, that brings a space where you feel like you can really start rekindling and kind of really cultivating that inner fire. And that inner fire, that's your kundalini, your prana, that life force. And that's where you get Pele right there. Rising out of your shadows. For some of us, it's time to rise out of the shadows. And for some of us, we have really felt that. It's almost like not even just like a push, but it's like a gradual incline into just feeling ready for a new way of life, whatever it may be for you right now. It may feel like it is that time for something new. So with that being said, this is your reminder, Mother Mary, that you have the abundance, you have the tools, you have the mind, you have the body, you have the spirit complex to manifest and co-create. So intention. Intention is what you're doing with your vital energy or your physical earth energy. Then you mix your intentions with your mentalism or your mind. So then after that, you use your actions. Mind, intention, and actions. That's your recipe for manifestation. When you know that, you just bring yourself back to the basics of who you are instead of sophisticating it, then you can just live in that type of mindset, knowing that no matter how much something gets one direction, or no matter how much you may feel stuck, you can instantly, through a shift of energy or mindset, completely change the trajectory of your life path. And that's part of using your Pele fire, that inner fire within you. It's your free will. You do whatever you want with it. But just know the cause and effects that you're going to experience. And that's what Mother Mary tells you. Again, it's just, I'm here to let you know that I got you, but I'm going to allow you to learn things for yourself. And sometimes when you learn those things, it may come through a little harder than usual, but that's a part of it. So those are our cards for the collective. Pretty beautiful. And for again, everybody again, it is the light language oracle. All right, so with that being said, so in the last episode, or the first episode, I should even say, we talked about quite a few different things, ranging from, talking about boundaries, red flags. We also spoke on different types of abuse. And then there's even some real life examples and stories given as well from different community members. And with that being said, I just wanted to kind of take us into a little exploration of how our aura field works and our energy field, what it looks like when it's healthy and powerful, and what it can look like when it's a little bit weaker vibrationally, and how that can kind of attract and be imbalanced from a visual level. And then along with that, we'll also talk a little bit about the subconscious mind and how the subconscious can be programmed, as well as pick up and hold on to different patterns from experience, such as abusive relations. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys here this image. And this image is just a really good visual showing you the difference between a healthy, clear, and vibrant aura, which is on the left side, compared to the right side, which is sharing an image of a polluted, toxic, and distorted aura or energy field. So as you can see, one is full of rainbow spectrum colors, also creating a gold ray of light. You can see that there's no distortions and everything is fluid and clear in its rotation speed. So if you look over here on the right, you can see there's swirls, and there's also kind of like openings, kind of tears. I guess like you can call them tears. Usually people use the word tears, but it looks like there's tears in it. And then through that is how you can actually attract vampiric-like energies, as well as attachments, and much more. So the reason why I wanted to show this tonight is because, if we're going through these experiences in our life where somebody could either be mentally, emotionally, physically abusive with their energy towards us, and this is getting more into the metaphysical side, then that image on the right is something that could very well be a representation of what our auric field can look like as time goes on from such experiences. And just a little bit about the auric field for everybody, if you guys are not familiar with it, is, our auric field is charged through the power of our electromagnetic system flowing through our being. So as human beings, we are electromagnetic, and there's much more other compounds and elements to us as well. But the way that we utilize energy, the way that we attract, manifest, have life flow through our being is through our magnetic energy field. And that creates our torus or toroidal field, and also the light body, or Kaba. So if you guys really want to go in depth about the light body, the chakras, and what they are, you guys can actually check out my series, Light Body Awareness 101, on Sacred Light Healing and Wellness, the YouTube channel. Go to playlist, and then Light Body Awareness 101. And I actually do a whiteboard demonstration going fully in depth, teaching you about the light body and the chakras and how they relate to our human being. And long story short is chakras, which also means wheel of light, wheel of energy. Our chakras is like a blueprint or a gateway system for different layers of our human multidimensional being to be expressed into our physical reality. Pretty complex, but also simple once you get the full understanding. So, with that being said, typically, the ways that we, by having healthy boundaries, by knowing how to stand in our authenticity, by continuing to have healthy routines, doing things that keep us in our supportive environments and energies. And this also means, diet, the way that we're speaking to ourselves, allowing others to speak to us, as well as the way that we're carrying our emotions, and if we're holding on to old emotions or wounded emotions. And then lastly, I'll also add in there, attachments. If we have strong attachments, that's something else as well that can kind of take from that. So if we're not receiving these things, and we're receiving kind of like the opposite polarity, which is being cussed at all the time, being shamed, guilt tripped, being gaslit, being physically demanded, enslaved, kind of. And we are also kind of being used, being talked down. Those are ways to create that swirling, that pollutedness, the distortions. So with that being said, if we are taking this on and we're struggling energetically, one thing I'd like to give as a tip for anybody out there, and this doesn't have to just be about, abuse only. This could be about, say you're at work, or you're working a long shift and your energy just feels drained. Find your energy practices and find your strategies. Whether it's frequencies, sound healing, meditations, short breath work, connecting in nature with your animals. Whatever it is that helps you feel like you're more in that rainbow, that golden energy, allow yourself to utilize that. And remember that no matter how down you feel, no matter how down you get, all it takes is for you to get your energy vibration back up. And if you focus on getting your energy vibration back up instead of the opposite, then that focus will help accelerate the process for you too. Because your mind will then tell your body, your cells will listen to that, and then you'll start getting electrical charges that help you support what it is that you're saying you want. So with that being said, that easily slides us over and makes a very nice transition to my next topic here within the topic, the subtopic of the topic, and that is the subconscious mind. So now we're going to talk about the subconscious mind a little bit. and how the subconscious mind relates in these kind of relations that we're speaking on tonight. So we have a wonderful quote here from Earl Nightingale. And it's, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. That is a good one. I'll read that one more time. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So, this one really, it feels really good for me because I teach about the subconscious and subconscious reprogramming. And this is something I've actually traveled to multiple states to teach in person. Last time I did it, I believe, I'm not sure if it was my last time, but maybe second to last. It was over the summer last year, 2024. And I drove to Knoxville, Tennessee. And I went to this sober kombucha bar. And at the sober kombucha bar, I taught a few different lessons actually. But I taught subconscious reprogramming, inner child healing, and I can't remember what else. But the subconscious reprogramming, I gave, 3 very key ingredients that I call it when it comes to reprogramming. And those ingredients are repetition, intention, and consistency. So repetition, intention, and consistency. And in this quote right here, it says, whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. So, wow. There's a key thing that I need to bring up right now with this quote. And what Spirit is really leading me to is, remember that this quote is full spectrum. As in, it doesn't discriminate. It doesn't discriminate from the way that you nourish your subconscious mind for things to come to reality. What I mean by that is, whatever repetition and emotion that you're putting the most focus into your subconscious mind is going to one day become reality. So this could be positive spectrum, negative spectrum. But either way, whichever one we're continuing to repeat and put the most emotion into, we'll most likely get more of that in our reality. And that's, man, it's huge. Because when you think about, the way that people may be right now when it comes to how they feel about the future, how they feel about certain individuals, and the way that, we consent to the repetition and emotional charge behind certain things that we ultimately probably don't want to experience more of in our reality. But due to us continuing to speak upon, focus on, and put the focus charge to, we're actually giving more fuel to that. It's like the wolf story, like, which wolf are you feeding? The white wolf or the black wolf? And whichever one, you may want to figure out what it is. So with that being said, when we're in situations where we're navigating manipulation and abuse, our subconscious mind is picking up on the information and the experiences from those moments. And then it kind of implants into that subconscious. And the subconscious doesn't actually know better. Doesn't know, like, it shouldn't or shouldn't absorb something. It just absorbs everything. And then the more that we give attachment or focus and repetition of with our subconscious mind, it then settles and programs more into that. And from the subconscious, it then comes into our conscious mind. So this is a good time to talk about cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions take place due to past events or experiences that stay stored within our human layers. And what I mean by that is our emotions and our mental body and our physical body. And as it gets stored there, it then continues to play as a looping pattern through our being and manifests as experiences that create karmic lessons. So that being said, it's an internal dialogue. It's an internal manufacturing. And what this can do is we can have past experiences, past attachments, past wounds can slip into the way that we identify, the way that we perceive our present reality. And what I mean by this is someone could be saying or doing something and they could be genuine. They could be innocent about what they're doing for you or with you. But due to the experiences in our past, where someone may have done a movement or a gesture very similar, but it was an abusive or aggressive type of situation, that can be present within our memory, that's stored inside of our DNA, stored inside of our water, stored inside of our mind, emotion, body. And then it gets triggered. When it gets triggered, it's because it's still stuck and stored within our being. So that triggering is an opportunity to clear it and heal it. But if we don't know that, we're not shown that, we're not given the tools, then oftentimes these triggers will become too much for us or seem like too much. And then we'll get kind of taken over by it. So with that being said, with the cognitive distortions, this can also be, in the line of when you think about trust. So like trusting yourself, trusting others, the things that we tell ourselves or continue to hear in our subconscious mind that other people have said to us or have kind of tried to convince us or implant into our mind. These are all things that can very, very much happen in our actual lives here and happen to a lot of us when it comes to our subconscious. Not just that, but like you think of, gaslighting and what that can do to the subconscious mind. Insinuating. So that's why you may see that could be very difficult for us to navigate out of an abusive relationship. And what I mean by this is it can be difficult for us as human beings to navigate out of a abusive relationship because of the constant repetition and the emotional charges that we experience daily while in that type of connection. And knowing what the subconscious does and how our body stores these memories, it's gonna continue to program us through the repetition as the normal and the conditioning of our human being. So that's why you may see it where we could be in an abusive situation. We know we gotta get out of it, but we could be so conditioned to it that it's all we know at that time. Same with going back to it. So it's not really a thing of blame. No, it's not a thing of self-shame, self-pity. There's no need to really be hard on yourself. If you are going through something like this, or you have, because this is the condition of our human being. And when I say our human being, I really mean like our human being. As in, we're spiritual beings that are made of light and divine light. And we are here experiencing as humans. And we're meant to go through experience. We're meant to go through trials and tribulations. And we're meant to go through the light and the dark. But while we're here, let's figure out how to navigate what we're in, where we are. Try to know thyself so that we can maximize our opportunities. Really tap into that divine will that we have and know that we can actually reconstruct our lives exactly how we want to. And we can also really heal and overcome our limitations that we believe in and the things that we have been through. So think about it this way. If you're really having some struggles with, your attachments, or falling into the same cycles, continuing to repeat them, going back and forth to unhealthy outlets. Think about what could happen if you focus a little bit of reprogramming, developing new routines, trying out some healing practices in your daily routines. Then as you continue to do those things, you start to rewire your programming. You start to clear your energy centers, which are connected to your mental, emotional, and physical health. And then you start to let go of density and attachments through these practices. Then as you develop through these practices and routines, this could be ways to help shed layers and give you stability and, a vital boost to the way that you're able to take action, the way that you're even attracting, the way that you're perceiving, and the clarity that you have within yourself of who it is that you're interacting with, who you're giving your energy to. So for me, I feel like that's the key, is not just kind of learning from the outside and learning from the behaviors and the flags and the things that we can look at on the outside, but to also just remember our ultimate balance and our ultimate healing process within ourselves when it comes to our energy centers, our emotional patterns, the emotional health, as well as the way that we are continuing to focus our beliefs and our limitations of ourselves. So that being said, if we have oftentimes been talked down to, or been called names, or we have a lot of self-doubt, then we want to try to maybe counteract that with affirmations, consistency of affirmations, as well as doing things with people that show that love and doing the things that we love. Are some ways to help kind of counteract that. Hefty stuff. All right. So that being said, we'll talk about physical. Oh yeah, and also, one of my favorite ways to have boundaries for my mind is to continue to give my mind the right programmings and the right things in repetition. So sometimes we may have to keep kind of guiding our mind to say different things or remind or tell our mind certain things instead of letting it drift off into other things. It's hard to kind of explain that, but it's like being the observer, and as the observer, talking to your mind and kind of shifting its focus. It's like with the breath. You could direct your mind to focus on the breath. You just be like, all right, I'm going to focus on breathing in 3 times, holding 3 times, breathing out 3 times. And you tell your mind that, and then you start doing it. And then your mind shifts directly to that. So think about that. You can do that with anything in your life. And the more you put repetition into that, through your actions, thoughts, and emotions, there you go. So this goes for boundaries, attracting, all right, so physical, we're just going to talk a little bit about how on the physical side, through the energy and through the mental, it can then store and trap into our physical density. Now, our physical isn't exactly like a solid object like we think. This physical is more like a vibratory field that's able to absorb and reject energy. So with that being said, we absorb energy magnetically. And the type of energy that we're absorbing magnetically stores into our mental, emotional, and then physical layers. The physical is the catalyst. It's the effect from what was caused in the energy. And then that manifestation turns into like a disease or illness or an injury, as well as blockages, buildups, and other pollutions and imbalance to the body. Now, this could also turn into like cramps, tension, inflammation, and depending upon what part of the body, there's certain connections that the parts of the body have to certain emotions. And then you can tell what type of emotional energy then stored in that part of your body. Then you can directly go at that with different practices like cupping, massage, yoga, again, much more others. And that will help you with releasing and moving that energy. So then you can be more clear and more healthy again. So yeah, it would be beneficial, although it could be tough, to continue to have good movement and activity with your body so that you can continue to release these stored emotions so that they're not continuing to pattern into your DNA. Not just pattern into your DNA, but also continue to distort your energy field. And with physical boundaries, I just want to give you guys a reminder of, knowing your resources, because I know sometimes we can forget our resources due to fear. And not just knowing your resources, but also know how to have things in place for yourself. With that being said, I think that will do for this episode tonight. These were definitely some great reminders, and I trust that everybody will be able to receive and pick up on anything beneficial that is necessary for them in the moment. And I just want to thank you all that tapped in and will tap in. And this will do it for the second part of Navigating Abuse and Manipulation in the Sacred Kingdom podcast. If you guys have any comments, any feedback, any questions, or anything you would like to add to this topic, please feel free to put in the comments, reach out. And if you guys want one-on-one services, reach out to me as well. And you guys enjoy your night. Wholeness and balanced love. Come take a journey. April 5th and 6th for a holistic, nature-based 2-day retreat event taking place in Hocking Hills, Ohio. This beautiful 2-day event, hosted by myself, Marcus Crystolite of Sacred Light, along with fellow Sacred Kingdom community members, we will be offering and delivering to you sacred and holistic space where we will be diving into holistic sound healing and shadow work flow shops. Along with that, we will also be doing beautiful traditional cacao ceremonies and also exploring and hiking Hocking Hills. And to complement all these beautiful activities, we will be able to snack on delicious foods, and you guys will also be having your breakfast, lunch, and dinner provided for. Vegetarian and vegan options. And along with this, we'll be doing overnight camping, and there will be hooping flow shops, as well as other interactions with the elements in nature. This is a wonderful space for you to be able to holistically heal, become empowered with education, and take tools into your everyday life for conscious empowerment. Reach out, ask questions if you have any. I'd love to see you there. Begin your process by scanning the QR code and to register. Wholeness and balanced love.